James Anderson from RotoWire here with some friendly advice. Stop drafting these three players in your fantasy baseball leagues. I'm not cherry picking some weird late round wasted picks like taking Ricky Tiedemann, who won't pitch in the big leagues this year as he recovers from Tommy John surgery, or Cody Thomas, who people have been taking thinking they're getting Colby Thomas at the Athletics. These three players have been taken in every single 12-team high-stakes draft this month. The first is Ceddanne Rafaela, outfielder with the Red Sox. Now, for those who don't know, I was actually very high on Rafaela for redraft leagues last year, but while I think he deserves to play every day, I'm not sure he will, and he needs to play every day to be worth using as the number 9 hitter in a 12-team league. It's clear that the Red Sox don't want to use Masataka Yoshida at all, and they don't want to play Rafael Devers at third base. Unfortunately, Yoshida is owed $18 million a year through 2027, and in order to play Devers at first base while keeping Tristan Casas in the lineup, Yoshida will either need to sit or play the outfield. So there's one scenario where Rafael loses out on playing time, presumably sitting against some righties in favor of Yoshida while Jarren Duran slides to center field. Another potential issue for Ceddanne Rafaela's playing time is that Roman Anthony, one of the very best prospects in baseball, plays the outfield and is big league ready. So if the Red Sox want to give Anthony playing time this season, which they surely do, Rafaela is one of the players he could play over. So I love Rafaela's defense. Just the fact that he's one of the best center fielders in the game and can play passable shortstop defense is a rare athletic feat. However, he's worth less than a full win above replacement in 152 games last year for the Red Sox. So he isn't locked into this everyday role. And I just think people shouldn't be using a 12-team pick on a player like that who could be playing part-time right out of the gate. The next player you should be staying away from in your fantasy baseball drafts is athletic second baseman Zack Gelof. Most of you have been playing fantasy baseball long enough to remember when people would be tantalized by Joey Gallo's power and they'd roster Joey Gallo in fantasy baseball and keep his 209 batting average in their lineup all season. Those people never cashed in their leagues. A more recent example that I actually fell prey to last year was Dalton Varsho, who was actually valuable for the Blue Jays, but he hit 214 and tanked the team I used him in for half a season. It's just very, very hard to cash in a standard roto league while plugging in a non-catcher who's logging 550 plate appearances for you and hitting below 220. Zack Gelof hit 211 last year. His strikeout rate ballooned to 34.4%. It's certainly possible that he could hit more like 235 and you'll be fine with the pick, but you won't know that until it's too late because you're not going to bench a player you took at pick 230, especially a player you're relying on for stolen bases. So if you get to the point in the draft where you're thinking about taking Zack Gelof and it's starting to look like a good idea because you need that speed, I think that means you messed up earlier in the draft. The final player you shouldn't be taking in your 12-team fantasy baseball leagues is Rays pitcher Drew Rasmussen. Now, Rasmussen will certainly show up very favorably in any projection system because he's a really good pitcher. But what role will he be in this year? Rasmussen's had 2 Tommy John surgeries already. He has a very long track record of not being able to handle the starter's workload. The Rays also have a ton of starting pitching depth. So do we really think the Rays are just going to turn him loose as a 5-inning starter? I think it's highly unlikely. Now, could he get saves for the Rays? Absolutely. I think Rasmussen could get saves for the Rays this year, but I don't think people are drafting him at pick 228 on average this month for the saves. Pete Fairbanks is already going about 70 picks earlier, and he's in that Rays bullpen already. So this is nothing against Rasmussen, the pitcher. I just think he'll be providing reliable ratios. He'll be providing solid strikeouts when he's out there, but he's not going to be giving you reliable wins or saves in the role that the Rays will use him in this season. Go to rotowire.com/try for access. No credit card required.